ードの中見極めよう。君も一緒にね。知識を深めてプロの視点。未来を占うのさ。せーの Guess that grade グレードを予想。 Guess that grade
君の番だよ。
Guess that grade さあ始まるよ。最高の時間。カードの中見極めよう。君も一緒にね。知識を深めてプロの視点。未来を占うのさ。せーの Guess that grade グレードを予想。 Guess that grade
君の番だよ。
Guess that grade
All right, welcome to another episode of Guess That Grade. We're doing another live stream today. We're going to do the usual. I think the getting in the habit of things. I want to do a card pack opening because that's just always fun to do. We'll open up one of the tag submissions that we got back. So last stream, I opened all of them at one time just to kind of like, that was my first time. And I thought it'd be fun to do it on stream. But today we got 5 back. We're just going to open one of these. So we can check them out together, look at the grade ahead of time, because in the future, that will be an actual video. We're going to open up a Pokeball from Costco that I got. I got the 6 Pokeballs with 3 packs apiece. I think they're all the same. I think they have the same code on the bottom, at least down here. So it's like Journey Together, Searching Sparks, and something else. Mega? I'm not sure. But we'll start it off with some Pokemon pack openings. And then we'll do the tag grade submission. And then we'll end it with, for today, we're going to do it's harder to see there because of the glare. An Ethan's Typhlosion is the card we're going to be checking out. And I already got it pre-scanned for centering, so we'll check that out here in a second. But let's go ahead and move this over to the overhead cam, yeah? All right, so that's a beautiful ball. And if you don't know, you can search up like G25 online, and then that will tell you like what packs are on it, and all of my tins say that. Unfortunately, I was hoping I'd get like an Evolving Skies pack or something because I've never opened one. So let's see if it's true or it's the same thing. So, okay. Yeah, not Mega, so Destined Rivals. Okay, we got some stickers. Let's appreciate that for a second. So we got Meganimium, I forgot her name, I think, and then Meloetta, or maybe this is the adult form of it. Cool, I probably just butchered those names, but we're just going to go ahead and close up the Pokeball, save that little guy for later. But yeah, here are the incredibly smashed Pokepacks that we're going to be opening. So we got Journey Together, Destined Rivals, and Searching Sparks. We'll go with Journey Together as the first one. That's my least favorite option, so let's go ahead and get into this. I am not a professional pack opener, nor know how to do it the best way. I just do it for fun. And I don't do it that often because I'm a normal person. Oh, I should have guessed I should have guessed what this was before flipping it. But yeah, let's just kind of go through this. And what we're looking for is obviously like any other person. We're looking at trying to get some big hits in there and something worth grading. And if it is something worth grading, we'll go ahead and talk about it. Oh, that's a really cool Snorlax. I've never seen that before. I actually like that illustration. Magmortar, I think it's pretty neat. Okay, so nothing on the first pack on Journey Together. Let's go Searching Sparks. That's my next one. It's not my favorite, but it is what it is, you know? So let's do that. And then we just zoom in a little bit so you can get a better view here. I'm going to go with Lightning. Nope. We did not get Lightning. All right. Simisear. I just like, even these common cards, I don't know about you, but they're so beautiful. Like that Latios. Like, that's just incredible, even though they're just basic cards, right? Ninetales. That's really cool. Loxley. Okay. We got Pikachu EX. That's something. That's something. Now, when we're looking at this together, if we're just looking for like a gradability, I don't know what this actually goes for. Maybe I'll look that up. But we're looking at centering first, right? The bottom is a little bit thicker than the top that we can see. And the left and right look pretty decent. Maybe the right side's a little heavier, but this seems within tolerance. Really nice texturing on the front. It's my first time getting this Pikachu. Centering looks good on the back, definitely within tolerance. There is a minor white speck down here in the bottom left, but you can have up to like 2 specks or whitening on the back before it's considered an actual outside of gem mint tolerance. So this might be actually like a gradable card, which is really cool. Let's go ahead and pull up a sleeve. This one's deserving of it, you know. I actually don't know what this goes for. Surging Sparks Pikachu EX. Let's look that up real quick. I'm just gonna go on my other screen over here and go to collector just for a quick second. And then we'll do Pikachu EX 57. It's probably not worth more than a couple bucks, right? 362. Okay, 362 is not bad. What about Gem Mint 10? 5165. Not worth it to grade because just the cost value, it's so expensive now to grade with tag now, which is kind of crazy. So unfortunately, I would be a little bit more skeptical about that. But the last but not least, Distant Rivals. I feel like getting hits in here is more common, and obviously Crown Zenith is like the golden child of getting hits, I should say. Let's go with I'm filling some water. Oh, there we go. Heck yeah, that's a win. Need arena. I'm not a big fan of the Team Rocket kind of logo on the bottom. Arcanine's really cool. I love this. I realize Arcanine's probably like my second, like my top 3 Pokemon. Gyarados being number 1. Hydra Apple. Hydra Apple. Funny. That's awesome. Team Rocket's Ariana. Okay, well, let's look at this too. Right side centering is a bit heavy. Top is very thin compared to the bottom. So this is definitely not Gem Mint quality, or it doesn't meet the tolerance, I should say, for the centering. But it's still an incredibly beautiful card. Definitely worth using for trade, right? I'm just kind of stacking all my cards on the side. Let me look this up. We'll just leave it here for you. Let's look at Team Rocket's Ariana. 224. This will be 591. Okay, so we got 2 pretty decent cards, right? We made $8 on this. Why not? That'll go into the trade binder. So I'll put that off to the side and save it for later. We'll take the packs, or not the packs, but the bulk, and put it off to the side. And now I had 5 cards to send out. Only one was a 10. I've already pre-graded all these. I've already estimated my grade for it. So I'll pull that up as well, and I'll look at it. But I don't know which one this is because they pre-pack it, right? So let's see here. Let's do it from the bottom. Okay. All right, we got a nice little cut there. Boom. So this is the Excadrill, apologies. Incredibly beautiful card. I actually pulled this from a pack. The Excadrill was estimated by me to have a 10. I didn't see anything significant on here, but I don't believe this did get a 10, and I believe it was just because of centering. But let's check. We got a 9. And overall, you can see like the card looks really solid. It's a tad bit heavy on the right. And maybe on the top a little bit, right? But beautiful card. I pulled it. Nothing wrong with surface defects, no corner defects, nothing like that. But I remember this. I remember this now. So let's go ahead. I'm looking at my other screen here. Just bear with me so I don't show my sensitive information. So Excadrill, let's get the dig report up. Okay. All right, now we're going to do the screen. So the tolerance on the front of a card is having to be within 10%. That's the tolerance. So what that means is that the top and bottom if you were to look at the size differences, if you're to subtract them from each other, they should be within 10%. So if like the top is like 52 and the bottom is a 48, there's a 4% difference, meaning that you're still within gem mint tolerance. So you need to do that for the top and bottom and left and right. Okay. Same thing on the back, but you're doing 30% difference. So as we're going through here and we're looking at the overall report, we're seeing that there's no corner issues, no edge issues, no surface issues. So we were correct. Like there's nothing wrong with this card when it comes to some kind of surface defect. But when you look at the centering on the front, left and right, 47 left, 53 right, which is a 6% difference. Okay, you need to be within 10%. And then the top and bottom, 56, 44. How crap is that, dude? So 10% tolerance means is at the worst it can be is 55, 45. That's the worst you can have it to get a 10. This is literally 2% off, 1% on each top and bottom. So 2% off, which is just super crappy. If it was just, man, that really sucks, you know? And then the bottom, the left and right has that 51.49, so 2%, and then the 9%. So this Excadrill literally was 2% off centering on top and bottom. I don't even think that's right. There's no way. This is still, I mean, the top is thicker, right? But I don't think it's that much thicker. I don't know. That kind of boggles my mind a little bit. It kind of boggles the mind. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we'll go back to the overhead cam real quick. Maybe in the future I'll crack it. But we're going to go ahead, grab this tag. When they give you this, they also send you, because you're opening it from like the little pack thing, they also give you the sleeves that go on top of it, which is really, really nice that they do that. And then all we're going to do is just go ahead and close this up. All right. There we go. So we got a sealed up Excadrill. Now, is it worth grading is another question. Okay, so let's go back to the screen and me. And we're going to do Excadrill from Black Bolt for 168. I thought this was, I was pretty close. So this is $18.33 for the car raw right now. And if we were to grade it at a 9, so a 10 is 70 and a mint 9 is 19. So like we it's just the same as raw, which I think is really interesting. So there's and I hope it gets to this point in the future. But when people say near mint, they think near mint means 9. Near mint is a 7. That's near mint. So I think it's really interesting when people say like, oh, it's near mint, so it's considered like the same price as a 9. A 9 is not the same thing. You can see that this card had no flaws, nothing wrong. Centering is so microscopically off that you wouldn't be able to tell from first glance, right? So when you're looking at this and a 9 is there, a 9 should not be the same grade as a raw card. It should not. So like I can understand this card, and I understand this just how it is. I wonder what a pristine 9, and there's no pristine 10s. I'm sorry. So a gem mint 10 would actually put us at $70, which we still would have lost money on. But in this case, we lost money. We lost money. It cost me $22, I think, to grade this one card, plus the return shipping is $19, but you're splitting that over the course of 5 cards, right? So basically like $3.50, $4, let's just say that. So 27 cards or $27 in fees right there. And yeah, and then I didn't purchase the card. I opened it from some packs. So you can argue that's free. You can say whatever you want. But, I lost money because the total charging of fees is actually more than the worth of this card at this time. Now, if I hold it for a while, it'll be worth something. Is it worth cracking and having it raw and just using that as a trade? Maybe, because, I think raw cards are more liquid than they are slabbed. But this is also just a beautiful piece if someone's trying to maybe master set Excadrill, or maybe they're trying to slab everything in Black Bolt. That'd be kind of crazy to have I wonder if anyone's done that. That'd be really cool to do a fully slabbed master set challenge. That'd be expensive. You'd have to do one of the lower numerical value cards, like not numerical value, that didn't make any sense, it just sounded good. But one of the sets have really low numbers, right, that have like 70 in it, and at that point I don't even know if it'd be like a true, if you'd even want to do a true master set where you're doing the reverse holos, the commons, all that stuff. It might just be like one of each, but to each their own. Okay, we're going to go back to overhead, and what we're going to check out is I'm going to put this away. I do have a little vault case for all my stuff, so I'm just putting it in there since I've opened it. All right, and onto the part, I'm just streaming to myself for the most part, so I guess this is just for me, but I still find it really interesting. I got this for about $25. I got it at a card show with the intent of finding gradable cards, finding cards that are 10s, because I think it'd be profitable for my channel, as a way for me to make money, to be able to make a profit. Excuse me, sorry, I don't know what's going on with my headphones there, but it would be some sort of process. It'd be some kind of income for me, essentially. Apologies, I don't know what's going on with my mic there. But yeah, this is where we're at. I'm going to drag this down a little bit. See. And then I'm going to do overhead and just expand this out a little bit. Hopefully that looks good right there. Right? We're good. We're good. There we go. Boom. Okay. So we got a beautiful card. Ethan's Typhlosion is one of those cards that I'm personally looking at. I think it's an incredibly beautiful artwork. Typhlosion, I know, is a favorite for so many people, right? I think everyone has a favorite Pokemon, and it's a starter Pokemon, right? It's like the Zard. Excuse me. So I think it's really a cheaper card to get, sub 50. I was looking for cards sub 50, and I have quite a few that I actually pulled that I think have pretty good profitability opportunities, right? And that's what I'm trying to look for, is like, what are the cheaper cards that have a really good return rate? So when you're looking at Gem Mint 10s or even 9s, depending on like the type of card, they can have some really good profitable rates to get back if they grade well. And so I was like, well, this weekend I went to a vendor card show, and I was looking for Ethan Typhlosion as one of those cards. So this is a good opportunity for me to see if my eyes in the card show are good enough to be able to take it back and do a grade evaluation. Now, the thing I want to tell you is that when I go to card shows, I do get nervous. Okay, I'm recording my content. I have a microphone on me. I'm trying to barter with people. So it is, and especially like when people know that you're potentially grading like a card, then they kind of treat you a little bit differently, or they look at you a little bit differently, right? So I think this Ethan's Typhlosion is an incredibly beautiful card, but let's start from the basic and go into the actual grading process. So I'm in here, get the Excadrill. So I have my pre-grade right here for us. We have a handy dandy sheet, and I have already done Ethan's Typhlosion's grading. I've already done the centering for it, but we're going to go ahead and do it together because I was really interested. It is definitely off-centered a little bit not significantly though. But I think it was enough off-centered for it to not to be gradable, like to be right at that gem mint, like outside gem mint 10. So what we're going to do is I already took a screen evaluation of it, scanned it, and now we're going to go ahead and try and line it up on this centering tool. And the thing that I like to say is like tag in any grading company, they do it certain ways. PSA is human, so they're going to have more of a room for error there, right? But with us, we are also human creating these lines, whereas AI auto does it, right? So I'm trying to get it right on that line right here on the inside. And then I'm trying to get it right on this line on the top. And then we're going to go on the left side over here, because if this is what I like to say is like the 10% tolerance for the front. If this is on 10% exactly on your left and right, top and bottom, then you're either 2% over that 10% tolerance, or you are exactly right. So I've already done this before. I'm interested to see if what I get is the same thing I did earlier. And what I got earlier was, it was exactly 10%. So we're just kind of checking this out, and then we'll press that. We'll look at the buttons. Sorry, excuse me. I just keep on running around here. So you can see like this is a little off angled right here, but you can see it is within here. So that's something that I don't know how tag really handles, right? Where you can see the cut of the card or the bend of the card is a little bit off on that bottom side, but it is hitting directly on here. So what we can do is put on the same angle at the top, like so. So this is exactly on that edge on the inside, and this is exactly on that outside. I think that's pretty dang close. And I think the bottom looks good, right on the line. I think the left side looks good. You can see it's on this side and right here, even if it's off angled, but it looks solid all the way through. And then this top one, I feel like, I'm not sure, because you can see it has a little bit of a kind of a divot right here. So I don't know if it should go right on that top line, like right there. So that's where that like 2% difference makes a difference. Okay, so what we need to be at on the left and right top bottom is 45.55. Okay, so this left and right says we're 47.53, which is in that 10% tolerance. And then that top and bottom is almost perfect. So I'm not worried about the top and bottom. Even if we're 2% off, 4% off, at the worst, 4% off just means you're taking 2 and adding it to both sides. So it'd be 47.53, which means that we're still within gem mint tolerance. The thing I'm concerned about is this potential 45.55, because that's the 10%. So let's look at that left and right again. And I think for me, it's going to be this left side that we were questioning. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to get this zoomed in, and you can kind of see some gray on the outside. But so even if I do like the outside centering right here, where it's off on here and here, but it's directly on center on the outside, then we get 44.56. So just like the Excadrill we just looked at, literally only got a 9 by 2% because it was 44.56. So, and that was top and bottom. So this is very possibly a 9, depending on how they evaluate that centering on the left and right. And you can obviously see the right is a bit thicker than the left, right? Like, so one of the rules you could say is, if you can see it with the naked eye, it's not gem mint. And that's kind of a ethos that a lot of people have when it comes to grading cards. Okay. Now, when I did it earlier, I got this 45.55 exactly. And I was pretty zoomed in on this thing. Like you can see, it looks pretty solid right there. All that edging looks really good there. Like, so I think this is the true number, which is pretty close. We have 47.53. We got 49.50. So it just depends on when you're evaluating what you get. So that's the centering for the front. I'm not going to do the back because we already have it right. Oh, no, I do need to do the back. Shoot. Okay. I thought I did the back already, but the back is definitely within tolerance. It's a 30% tolerance, which means that it has to have, it can be between like a 35, 65. And with PSA, it's a 50%. So it could be 25, 75, which is wild that they allow that much room for adjustments. So let's just go like this is good on the top. And why I say that's good on the top is because like even though it's angled down a little bit, it's still hitting that corner. So yeah, this is going to be a little off, but it's there. And the other thing I could also do is come back in here. If I want to be nice about it, be good about it, be more proper about it, we'll go into the actual image. We're going to zoom in a little bit here. Oh, let me get in. And then we're just going to give it a little bit of an angle because it was a little bit angled off. I think that looks pretty good. What is that? Like 0.2%? I think that looks pretty solid. So let's try that. Let's go back to the centering tool. Open that up. Go here. Boom, boom. So even if you don't get the cards scanned properly, like or flat, then you can always just edit it, like do post editing for it. That's what I tend to do quite a lot. Just drinking some water. Free advertisement there for us. And let me put this down. Okay, cool. All right. Zoom in here. So this is a little bit better, right? It's a little bit better. A little off still, a little off-centered. I think that's right on the line. That's pretty good. This is grabbing onto the sleeve of the card. And again, I don't like, it's very obvious when the card is off-centered on the back because it's 35, 65. So it's got to be pretty wild for you to like not notice. But for the sake of content, we're going to do it anyways. So it's pretty loose. This is free to use, by the way, edgegrading.com. It's a grading service. I don't ever use them, but I love their centering tool. So when you look down here, you can see like this is not within PSA's tolerance if this was the front of the card. And that's because the top and bottom here is at 45, 56. And the left and right's 51. So like each of these individually have to be within a 30%. 2% difference and what is that? 12% difference. So this is a PSA 10 on the back as well as a tag 10 because that's less than 30% on each case. We're gonna go ahead and save that here. Oh no, that's Crown Zenith. What am I doing? Okay, Typhlosion and then Typhlosion. So this one's gonna be really interesting because it can go either way on the front of the card. And I think that's going to be the big thing. There are some things that that we did notice that is pretty easy to see, honestly, from just looking at the card. So if we're in here, I have the sleeve on right now, but like there is a whitening dot. We'll put it in front of the camera later. I don't know if it's going to be able to focus with my face right here. I think it needs a little bit of distance. Yeah, the light's throwing it off. But on the back left corner, there is definitely some whitening. But let's do the whole grid review right now. Okay, so let's go to the overhead camera. Actually, I'll let you just watch me for a second. So what I'm going to do is go back to my pre-grade reviews. For the centering, I'm going to say potentially gem mint on front and back. Front might be 2% off. And I think that's fair to say. All right, so let's go ahead and do overhead camera. Bring the microphone over with me. And let me just make some adjustments to my screen so I can see what I'm doing. We're going to go ahead and take this out of his sleeve. I do like to put the sleeve onto the side here just because if you want to pick up the card, rather than like potentially scratching it with your nail, which I have done in the past, it's easy just to grab the sleeve, tuck it underneath, grab the card, and then flip it back over. and you can just leave the sleeve underneath it. For the point of this video, though, I don't do that because I don't want it to be in the video. So, all right. So what we're going to do, first things first, is we're going to look at the card in its totality. All right. So we're going to look at this card and just determine if there's anything that's obvious that we can see that might be an automatic defect. As we were talking about before, if it is something you can see with your naked eye, it is a defect. It is going to be something that's going to be held accountable to you. If it's something underneath a microscope or something like that, it's not going to be as important. But what I'm doing is I'm starting at the top of the card, and then I'm working my way down, just like I always do. And I'm looking at the surface specifically. Okay, so no corners, no edges. We're just looking at the surface. And some things to look out for is, especially underneath this angled light, is are there any print lines? Are there any roller marks? That screwed me up on my Dialga, which I'll show in a future live stream. The Dialga was looking really good. I did not see the marks going down it because of the holographic. It makes it really difficult to see. So you got to be pretty on point and also know what the card even looks like by default, because like a lot of this illustration and this artwork can look like print lines or roller marks. And maybe in a future stream, like I'll show you guys how that looks like. But print lines should be horizontal or vertical. There's no diagonals that I've ever seen. It is possible, but I've never seen that. So going through here, I'm not seeing any strange lines. That's not part of the artwork. I do see a potential pit in his hand right there. I know it's probably not going to be something you can see based on the lighting and stuff. You can kind of see it right there. It's really, you can barely see it. But again, it's not something like I can see with my naked eye, right? But it's not significant enough to where it's taking away card appeal. It's still possible to have a pit that's like that in the front of the card, as long as it doesn't take away from the eye appeal. Okay. As I'm talking, I'm spitting on the card, which is fantastic for the overall value of it, and just give it some humidity, you know. But we'll take note of that. Not the spit, but the pit. That rhymed. Okay, so let's just say small. I'll say microscopic pit on Ethan's hand or palm. Only viewable under angled light. Doesn't take away eye appeal. Now, if that pit did take away eye appeal, then it would absolutely be something we need to, like that could be the difference between a grade and a full, like a no grade being taken and a full grade being taken away. Okay. Versus like if you think about tag in 1,000-point scale, because that's how they grade their items, with a small pit like this, it might be like 25 points. All right. So if everything else is gem mint and you just had that, you get 275, which is still gem mint if you're above 250. So I don't know if that's the actual like worth of the pit that we're looking at. I don't know if that's actually like a subtraction of 25 points. I'm just demonstrating an example, so don't hold me to that. But so far we don't see anything. Everything looks pretty good except for that one thing on the surface. I do have a black light, and what I'm doing here is, oh man, hold on a second. Black light accentuates any kind of discolorations, any kind of whitening. Doesn't help you with print lines or roller marks, but it does give you some, it will highlight any kind of holographic issues. So there's a couple things. Okay, so one of the things I kept on pulling the camera in, you probably messed you up, is you can see right there. You see that little white dot right there on the line? I don't know if that's part of the card art or if that's actually an error on the card. And then right on Ethan's sleeve, now that you're looking at it, is that card art or is that an error? So this is what we're going to go ahead and do. I'm going to go to my collector app real quick. I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to look up Ethan's Typhlosion. Excuse me. From Dustin's rival. And then we're going to look right here. So I called it the little whitening. Okay, so I can't point at my screen, obviously, because we're already zoomed in here. But you can actually see that whitening right on his sleeve, like it does on the card. And then right on this. Yeah, okay, you see that? You see on like the right where his devolved form from Quilava. So if you look to the right at like the center and you look at that bluish kind of line coming through it and you look down, that white mark is right there, right on that black and blue line. So that's actually awesome news. So you can tell obviously that the surface in my opinion is going to be gem mint. I don't see anything that is significant to the actual card. So I'm gonna put no issues. No issues under angled light or black light or microscope. But speaking of which, let's see if we can check out some stuff, shall we? I got trash on my counter, and I need to clear that off so that way I can actually use my card, or use my microscope, I should say. Sorry. So I said that there was a pit potentially on Ethan's hand. So we have to find his hand on the card. Okay, so we're high. So this is his fingers right there. I don't know if it's on the centering of the screen or not. And I wish I had like a 4K camera for you. Microscope. Jeez. But there we go. That's what I'm talking about, is right there. Happy I got this on image. You can only see it because that shadow is popping out. Sorry. You can see it right there. The shadow. So there's a little bit of a reverse pity on there. So it's definitely going to take away some stuff from it. Okay. Unfortunately. Now, let's go ahead and appreciate this card the next way, which is going to be doing the corners and surfaces. We can do the back, but let's just go ahead and do all of the front at one time. I'm going to change it up today. So as we look at the front of the card, corners strictly just mean corners. Okay. Are there any kind of weird cuts? Are there any kind of weird indentions? Maybe a little bit of a dip to it. All the corners, like there might be a little bit of a dip from this corner to the actual edge of the card right here. That could potentially impact it, but that would just be considered a fill issue. So it's not going to be too impactful. It might be like 1.2 points. Okay. So just looking at it overall, the corners look really solid. I don't know if you got a good look at that or not, but I'm not seeing any kind of silvering. And silvering, what that means is like this holographic, that top layer print is a holographic print. So that's why that silvering would pop up, is because of the holographic inside of it. The other thing you can easily do is take a black light, run it over, and it should highlight any kind of whitening, silvering. And I know it's hard to see on the camera. And I'm doing this for the edges and corners. And if you're having to use a black light to see some kind of whitening, it's probably not that significant. Okay, so the one thing I can tell you that I do see a little bit is right above the E in stage 2. There's a little bit of whitening. Let's go underneath the microscope to check that out a little bit closer. It's probably not worth looking into, to be honest, because I couldn't see with my naked eye. But if it requires a microscope, yeah, see, you can't even see it. All right, let's try throwing in a black light onto this, just to see if you can see one. You see that little bit of how that little bit of whitening kind of shines right there. So that is underneath black light. They're not going to use a black light on this. Like they'll use some like different type of imaging, but it's not going to be significant. So I'm going to say that there is something there, but it's microscopic. Okay. Still not worth much, in my opinion. But while we're at it, we're going to go ahead and just do the whole card. So this is what I do when I look at the corners. Microscope, do you see any kind of silvering? Is it rounded? That's a proper corner. It is. It looks fine. Okay, now we're going to go to the right side. Silvering, rounded, good. Awesome. Okay, that top right looks good. We're going to go to the bottom left now. No silvering, looks good. And I mean rounded in a good way, like it has a proper form. Rounded is actually not good when you look at terminology on card grading. But like what I'm saying it from the sense of like, is the card its proper form? Okay. And you can see some silvering, but that's on the background. That's not actually on the card. So that bottom left is so solid. I almost said super solid. Super solid. Okay. So now the next step is let's check out the edge. Okay, you can see that little divot right on that edge going from that corner. You can kind of see it, a little bit of a drop. So I'm going to move my mic so that I can talk and show this. And now we're slowly just panning through all the edges. And I know this is really, you can see that little silver dot. That's nothing. We're only seeing it because it's a microscope. They're not going to care about that. But we're painstakingly going through the edges and just kind of working our way through. Cool. We got the top edge done. It's a good start. And let's go on the right side of the front. And I can go through this really fast, but if you're watching, I don't want to mess with your eyes because I know this can get you like motion sickness a little bit. I get motion sickness easily, so I don't want to do that to somebody that's watching. Okay, so nothing on that right side. Let's go ahead and check out the bottom. Below this silvering, that's just on the background. And generally you see some kind of indention as well. Not indention, like it's not going to be a huge dent, but it would be more of an obvious thing. So that's the bottom. The bottom looks good. And let's finish up on the front with the left side. Okay. Minor, very minor silvering. Like natural factory cutting silvering. It's not anything that would be considered true silvering, which would be actual damage. And I have videos where you can clearly see cards have that issue. So if you want to check those out, you can always just go to my YouTube channel. That'd be much appreciated. Okay, so the overall front of the card is incredibly solid. There are some potential issues that we called out. We said that, let me just put this card down real quick. I'm going to say on the corners, say no issues except a minor fill on the top left to the edge. Okay, nothing else really going on there. And then I'm going to say that the edges on the front had no issues underneath the angled light or black light. So right now we're looking good. We got the front done. We got the centering done. We're making some good headway here. Okay. And we're also only 45 minutes into this stream. It goes by so fast. It goes by so fast. And sometimes it just drags, but I've tried like to keep these underneath an hour. Just keep them fun. And maybe I'll do them more often, but I just don't have the consistency availability to be able to do that. I like to be able to take a break. Plus with editing videos, it just takes up a lot of time. So maybe in the future, I'll do it more often than once a week. And hopefully that's helpful for some people. But okay, same thing, back of the card, incredibly redundant. And what is the thing that you can see right now? What stands out to you? I think there's someone in the chat. I don't know if it's just another me in there. I don't know because I have my live stream up if that counts as two people. But if you can see something on here and you want to leave a comment, please do, because that would be that'd be fun to get some feedback. So, but when we're looking at this, the obvious thing that we can see with the naked eye is that bottom left corner. Okay, so that is your corner, and that is going to be a white speck. That could be factory dot. It could be something like that. So let's go ahead and just jump straight to that. Let's just address it while we're there, right? So you got underneath the microscope. And it's actually hard to see underneath this lighting, huh? Like it's really hard to see that. Do I need more light? No. Okay, let's try black light. Yeah, okay, there we go. You can see it quite clearly now. So I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's a white speck or a factory dot. So they put markers on cards to ensure that they're cut properly. And that could definitely be what this is. I'm going to put this, take it out from underneath the microscope, and I'm just going to look at it. Because when you look at this, here, you don't see an indentation. Usually there's some kind of damage to the card. You usually see some kind of damage to the card. So it could be like a push in, like it could be like an indentation or a pressure point into the card. You could see some kind of fraying, and fraying would be like that, that layer of material created to use the card. You can see that, but it was so hard to see underneath the microscope. I've never had that really. So this might actually be just a factory dot, which I don't know if they hold against you. I have no idea. So I'm going to say back corner. I'm going to say potential factory dot on the bottom left corner. Yeah. So we have that. I know we kind of jumped around. I know we're starting on corners now rather than looking at the surface as a whole. But I just thought it's the obvious thing. And I wanted to address it right away. Okay. So with all that said, let's look at this again. We're looking at the surface, not looking at corners and edges. We're just taking a step back, and we're going to start at the top, work our way down. Okay. Looking for some print lines, roller lines, and I can tell, damn it. Okay. So this is going to be a 9 because there's a print line. Okay. There's a print line. Very, very hard to see. It goes across from here about 3/4 the way on the card, unfortunately. Okay, so let me say print line across, I'm gonna say light print line because it's light print line across Pokemon on the top. Let's try to see if we can get a good angle on this to where you can see it and close enough. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it on camera. But it's like we're looking about right here. It goes all the way across from the edge, going across the front or across the K. And it's a horizontal. But I don't. I don't think I'm getting you a good view of it to be able to see it, unfortunately. Trying to be able to show you. But it's there. I mean, it's hard to capture it with the light. Maybe I can try with the microscope. Let's try that real quick. See if it pops up there. Okay, so it goes. Yeah, you see. Okay, perfect. There we go. Well, I mean, not perfect because this sucks for me. But you see that scratch? And then it goes all the way from the edge. It goes like all the way across the P. Still going. It's really hard to see here. You can barely see it now. So it goes right here. And I think it stops right at that P. And then there's like a secondary line right in that K. You see that right there? Now we're back at it. And we're going across. So I'm going to have to say there's two light print lines on the card. All right. Now let's bring this back to overhead. Take a gander. See if we can find anything else, because that's what screwed me over on my Dialga. It's hard to see this stuff in car shows. you know, unless you're sitting there and like I said before, I get nervous when I'm at card shows evaluating cards. So, that pressure of them like watching me, and like I don't want to be that guy just staying there, staring, especially if like the only one at the booth, then they're just staring at you the entire time. It's really nerve wracking. I kind of get like stage fright a little bit. So like a lot of these things you just don't see. Okay, so I also see what looks like some minor scratch, like a scratch underneath that P. You can kind of see that there. So not as good. Even if the centering was perfect, that print line screws it up, because I have my Dialga. I've seen the dig report on it, and they hold that against you. I think it got like a 7.5 because of the ruler marks and print lines. So, you know, I can imagine them taking an entire grade off just because of that print line. Even though it's on the back, even though it's very minor, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't see other print lines on here. There might be one right here. I'm honestly not 100% sure. I can't tell if that's a ruler mark. I mean, this might be a grade-worthy copy for like PSA. Definitely not for tag. Definitely not for tag. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything else standing out here. And if there's print lines in the back, there's probably some on the front too that I just can't see. But what I do want to check out is right underneath that P. And let's go ahead and bring out the black light just to see if anything pops. Because sometimes you'll see some whitening. It does stand out a bit. My finger's right in the way, so make sure I look around where my fingers were. Okay, so let's check out the microscope on that bottom P down there. You can kind of see, oh, whoops, excuse me. Try and move my card around here. You can't really see it here, so maybe I'm imagining it. I don't think I am though, but yeah. I don't know. Not anything underneath the microscope, but just because it's not on the microscope doesn't mean it's not there, because it could definitely be there. Let's just take one more gander at it underneath the light. If it is an issue, it's definitely factory based, but tag does hold factory against you, unfortunately. Okay, so we know that there's a print line on the back. Surface, we're good to go. Let's go ahead and do corners. We're going to go back underneath. Let's go ahead and do this first. Corners. We get the black light out. Check it out. Oh, and we see some whitening. You don't really see anything on the top left, right? You see that bottom one stick out. Top left, there is a little thing right there. Isn't that crazy how much a black light helps you? Okay, so check out that top right, bottom. Okay, and then check out the edges. Nothing standing out. Maybe a minor. This is just factory. Like, I don't know if you can see this. Kind of lighting kind of messes up. You can see some whitening on the edge. I'll show you underneath the microscope, but that is just like factory cutting. That's not going to actually be held against you. So let's go back to the microscope. Let's confirm my suspicions here. Oh, dude, I just pinched the card so hard. Almost dropped it. Crap. Hopefully I didn't damage it more. So there's the top left. It's still hard to see. Sorry, I'm trying to get a good view here for you. But you can see a little bit easier underneath the black light. Okay. So that's top left corner. So let's go ahead and put that in there as a note. So minor speck on top left under black light. Okay, now let's do the top right. Nothing there. We don't see anything there. No worries. We didn't see anything underneath the black light either, so nothing. Bottom right's fine. And then bottom left we've already looked at. We know there's a white speck. Hard to see right now underneath the microscope, but it's definitely there. And you can see it underneath the angled light too. It's just how this, there we go. You can see right there, boom. Okay, so now on to the next step and last step. We will do the edges, okay? Let me just click off my screen here so I can make notes. Okay, perfect. So let's go ahead and start at the top. We're going to start at the top left here. And bear with me as we get a little bit motion sickness. Okay, so we're looking for some silvering, some whitening. We didn't see anything that stood out with our naked eye. There's really no point for us to even do this. But I'm just doing this so we can look at it a little bit closer together. Doing the right side of the card. Anything that would be worth noting would have been identified underneath the black light and underneath microscope. And if we don't see, sorry, underneath the black light and naked eye, we don't need a microscope to confirm it. The only reason I put it underneath the microscope is very, very rare instances just to see if it's like a factory dot, like we said, versus an actual speck to confirm the type of error it is. I don't know if they're treated differently, but I would assume a dot is less impactful to the grade because it's factory based. But with that said, I also say the same thing about, oh, look at that. Same thing about print lines, and print lines get held against you. So I don't know if that's whitening. It looks like it, but I just think it's maybe some fill issues. That's not actual whitening. That's just the light bouncing off of it weirdly. It's like, how do we miss that, you know? All right, and then go on to the last but not least, the left side of the card. And this is very interesting. And I'm making a new series. I'm starting it now, where it's like, I don't know what to call it, but a gem mint series, because I'd like to be able to do 2 cards a week in my actual grading process, right? I would like to be able to do that because then I can say, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays is a certain card, right? Where I'm focusing on educating. It's not a 10. I know it's not a 10, but the goal of the whole thing is to estimate the grade. Okay. This card I was buying with the intent of getting a 10. Obviously it's not a 10. And I know some people say like, okay, well, you know, if it's not a 10, like, oh, they'll have like a gem mint percentage is what I'm trying to say. So they'll say like my gem mint percentage is 80%. 80% of the time I send it to PSA or tag, I get a 10 if I assume it's a 10. Okay. So that was my goal with this one. After looking at it closer with more intent, using my measuring tools and things of that nature, I think the centering is potentially gem mint on the front. It might be off by 2%. That is enough where we should say, let's not take the risk. Keep it as a raw copy. Okay. From there, we know the back is fine. And let me show you my notes. This might make it easier for you guys to just kind of follow along. Let's try and make sure I got all my stuff in a row here. Okay. So the centering here looks good, but it might be off. We might be in the 9 category. I'm going to say it's probably a 9. I'm going to say my centering tool is not perfect. Okay. So I'm going to say it's probably a 9 there. So we're starting at a 10, centering makes it a 9. Okay. a high 9, like 940 points, let's say 945 points. The surface has a microscopic pit. Okay, let's say that's just very, very small, not viewable underneath the microscope. It doesn't take eye peel away. It's just viewable underneath of light. And there's no other issue. So we're still saying it's a 9. The 2 print lines, I don't know how much that actually impacts like everything. What I can tell you is that my Dialga, which let me just put you back on my face here. I'm gonna try to pull it up here for us. I have it, but I don't have it available to me right now. Like I haven't opened it yet. We gotta view it together. So I'm gonna pull it up. Okay, here we go. So we can look at it together. Okay. So we're gonna change this to drop this grayscale down. And you should be able to see some stuff here, and like we can see some line marks right here. I do think I saw that when I looked at the card. And I just wasn't sure what it would be counted as. But when we go down here, we can see the centering was great. The edges were fine. It's the surface back. So backs are worth less than the front. Okay. So if this card got dropped down to a 7.5 from mostly just surface damage on the back, like these obviously make a difference. So roller mark view, they have 2 roller mark views and a scratch. The scratches are very obvious. Let's just start with that so you can see it right away. Look at that scratch right there. Boom. Okay. So that's obvious. I don't know how I missed that. And then in this bottom region, they're saying there's a roller mark, and I don't know how, where, like, what does it look like? I guess I don't understand. Like I can see the roller marks at the top. Like that makes perfect sense. Like I understand that. I think that was the same one I just clicked on. Sorry. Okay, so this is highlighting. It disappears, but there was 2 yellow lines that were going up and down the card. I guess I'm confused on this now. This doesn't help me any. This just made me more confused. Oh crap. And then there's some edge damage on this as well. I don't know if I agree. And I don't mean disagree like that there's not roller marks. But what the hell are these then? Why didn't those get caught and grabbed against them? And how am I supposed to see a roller mark? Like, what does that even look like? I guess like this texturing on the back. Let's pull up another one. Let's pull up the Darumaka. And so like this looks the same to me. Like that ridging that's happening right here. Oh, this got an 8.5. What did it get roller marks too? No, these were corner issues. Yeah, so these are corner issues. These didn't even have surface damage. So like comparing that to this, I guess I'm missing what Tag is calling out. I don't know. I don't know what's happening here. But anyways, they destroyed the card. They destroyed this card based off of those roller marks. Like that's it. And a minor corner damage. So I have to assume it went down to a 7.5. Okay. So And that's with 2 roller marks. I'm calling out a very minor print line. I don't know how much that's going to actually drop it down. So we have a 9 with the surface on the front with the centering. Let's take it down to an 8. Let's take it down a full point for the 2 print lines. So let's say it's an 8. Minor fill issue on the corner, still going to stay an 8. It's not going to go down. Corners on the back, potentially factory dot. I don't know. I might have to say this is like a 7.5. I have to grade this similarly to the Dialga. I feel like the roller mark is probably similar to the print line. Interesting. Okay. So for the sake of my own sanity, it's worth less at a 7.5. At a 9, it's 53. So we gain some money if it's a 9. So hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully it is a 9. Better yet, make it a 10. Why not? All right, let's hope for it. So with that all said and done, we got the Typhlosion. I'm gonna grab his semi-rigid sleeve real quick. Oh, I don't have it on me. Shoot. But I have a bunch of cards already in this pile. Okay, so we got the Aerodactyl. Let me see if I can actually make sure you can see. So we got the Aerodactyl first edition fossil. Okay. We got the Snorlax, which is labeled a 10 from DegreeGrading. An Arbok DegreeGrading 10. Masbrit DegreeGrading 10. Pinsir DegreeGrading 10. I'm regrading just because I'm interested to see if they come back as 10 and tags label. And if that's the case, and they do, besides the Aerodactyl I think is going to get like a 5 or something. I forgot what I put for its review. I haven't released it yet. So I got these 5 cards. I think it's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we got the Typhlosion. We're going to add to the order that we think is going to get a 7.5 and learn. And that's the whole point of this channel. I guess that grade. It just costs a lot of money, unfortunately, to grade these cards just to be told that you're wrong. But that's the whole point. And I enjoy the challenge. And I think it'd be fun if, continuing my thought from earlier, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, I do a card, whether it's a gem in 10 or a random card. I put it on that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and the rest of the week are like my challenges, my card opening, things like that, because creating content for 2 cards a week is a lot of time because I got to create the long form content, then I got to create the shorts for it. So I'm in the phase of moving into a new place now. So I think my goal right now is to get into that new place, get into a good rhythm. And then once I can get everything set up and I'm in a good spot, and I'm financially able to do that, and I can get enough cards. Like, this is the biggest thing, is like the financial aspect of it. I need to start taking some of the graded cards I'm getting and then reselling them, especially if they make a profit, and using that to fund the hobby that I have in this channel, because that's going to allow me to do more card grading, because grading is so expensive, and also buying the cards that I want to grade. Using that profit from getting 10s, and this would be the second card I would do. So the first card of the week would be whatever card, not Gem Mint 10. It's going to be a card that's heavily played, moderately played, damaged, whatever. And the challenge there is to get it right. The second one, which may be like maybe Thursday, or maybe it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Maybe it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, whatever it might be. That would be the second card. And that would be like a Gem Mint special series, where like we are grading cards we truly believe is Gem Mint, and we're reviewing it, and we're speculating on it, submitting it, hoping to get a 10, and then what that means is it takes money. That means that I have to go through and find the cards. Like this Typhlosion is automatically going to that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday card evaluation, because I know upon my review it's not going to be a 10. So I wouldn't put it into that second series. But what I do need to do is keep shopping for potential 10s, taking that, evaluating it, and then hopefully getting a profit, and then selling it so I can use it to fund the channel. But I also have other cards I pulled. Got these ones. Not pulled. I'm sorry. I did not pull a Rayquaza. But I think it's a beautiful Celebrations Rayquaza right there. Has a really good profitable margin if if we get a 10. I bought a Zamazenta because I think I love dog Pokemon. So I think that that's what I'm going to go for. I think that Zamazenta is definitely not. It's going to the first series. It's not 10. We got the Vulpix popping up. I think there's a potential for this one to be a 10. I also just really like it because it's a beautiful illustration. We got the Gengar from Trainer Gallery. I think this one may get a 10 just based off of the first look I had at the card show. Kingdra, I think, is a little bit off-centered, but has good potential. From Trainer Gallery again. I think Trainer Gallery is very underrated. And then Team Rocket's Houndoom. I think this is potential 10 as well, just based on my first look at it. Okay. But with all that said, I'm appreciative of whoever was joining me on this stream today. It was incredibly helpful and very incredibly kind. And even though we didn't get to chat at all, it makes my stream worth it. It makes just having one other person, even if no one's watching with me, it's still worth it because this will eventually get to someone I think that's going to find it useful for them. So if you like this kind of content and you want to come back and enjoy this with me, please go ahead and shoot me a subscribe and a follow, leave comments and likes and all that good stuff, repost when necessary. It helps me fuel this hobby. So I'd really appreciate that. But thank you so much again. Until next time, I hope you keep guessing that grade.
始まるよ最高の時間カードの中見極めよう君も一緒にね知識を深めてプロの視点未来を占うのさせーの Guess that grade グレードを予想 Guess that grade
君の番だよ
Guess that grade さあ始まるよ最高の時間カードの中見極めよう君も一緒にね知識を深めてプロの視点未来を占うのさせーの Guess that grade グレードを予想 Guess that grade
君の番だよ